First of all, welcome to each one of you for being here and giving us your very valuable time over the next 3 days. I know you had many better things to do and many better places to go, like if you love snow, then this is not the place. If you love sunshine, well, even then this may not be the place, but if you like cloudy surroundings, then this might be the place. And I don't know if that's what you were looking for. Any case, I also was reflecting at the participation levels, and I was saying, is there another forum on which the person sitting next to you could have been the person sitting next to you, or for that matter, the person sitting in the hall? And I said the only where this might be happening is of those of us who travel, it could be the person sitting in the next plane seat, because there is hardly any chance that an insurance company and a technology company, organizations, or the people that we have in this audience would get to meet each other at any other place. And what we thought of Confluence as a place where people from very diverse backgrounds could meet actually did not come about as a coincidence, but actually came about with our realizing that we have actually a very diversified base of customers. And every morning we learn so much from each one of you. And we felt a little selfish that what we learn from you, we keep it with ourselves. We felt that what we learn from each one of you, we must be able to share with others. And we thought it's best if we get all of you together in a room every now and then we give an opportunity for you to share and learn from each other. And I think that's really the purpose of Confluence, and that's how Confluence was born in 1996, which is when we held the first edition. I wish I could have said, and ever since then we have held it annually, but then there have been times when we have not been able to do. But this is the 14th edition of Confluence. This is the 14th time that we got our customers. And each time we do have some new faces. And each time we can see some diehards who make it to every Confluence. And in fact, this morning I was talking at the speaker's breakfast, and I said, one of the things that we have now decided is to institute a recognition for those who are diehards at Confluence. So I am very pleased to announce the formation of the Old Timers Club. By the way, we have it in NIIT. For NIITians who serve more than 5 years, it's called Old Timers Club. For NIITians who serve NIIT for 10 years, they are called Real Old Timers. After that, we stop using the word serving NIIT. After that, we start using the word tolerating NIIT. For 15 years, they are called Real Old Timers Club, and so on and so forth. And then there are Grand Old Timers, and hopefully one of these days we'll be able to say Grandfather Old NIITians in this club. This Confluence 2014 is being held at New Orleans not because of its weather or food, but actually conveying a very important part of what we want to share this time. New Orleans actually represents a transformation. Completely destroyed by Katrina a few years ago, it has not only rebuilt itself, but those of you who've been here before Katrina and after Katrina, I mean, I came many, many years before Katrina, and then I came yesterday, and I see that it is back with the same amount of verve, maybe a little better, same amount of enthusiasm, and yet retaining the old character that New Orleans stood for. So that's, I think, really a transformation while retaining the rich values of the past. And to that extent, I think New Orleans is a great example. The choice of this hotel, by the way, is also a story of transformation. The place where you are sitting was actually a department store. It's a D.H. Holmes department store which got converted into the Hyatt Hotel. So where you are sitting right now, maybe some baby's clothes were hanging at that time, and the cash register was ringing. But that being the case, I think both the hotel as well as the city represent transformation. And I thought I should talk to you about the way we are looking in NIIT at transformation. And that's what is going to be the theme of what I am talking, which is transformations delivered or transformations planned. For a long time, we used to think about learning and what we deliver to our customers. Just to put the history on record, we are about 32 years in business. We started in a nearby place called India. I call it nearby because now we are also connected. We have served about 33 million people since the time we started. We serve school children, 4-year-olds is the smallest, and 84-year-olds is the oldest that we have served in our lifetime. Our R&D was working on, once upon a time, on a project about prenatal learning, because that comes from the Hindu culture, that you actually start learning when you are in your mother's womb. But that project actually, unfortunately, ran out of funding. So it's been dropped. But that's what we have been thinking, how and why people learn, and how can we accelerate and improve learning processes. So for a long time, in servicing our customers, we used to worry about the asks which our customer had. Make me this piece of learning, deliver me this piece of training, and we would do that. And then we said, we are learning from each such experience. Is that something that we can put together and get back to the customer and saying, this training that you're doing must be for a certain outcome. Is there a way I can hold responsibility for the outcome and we can create a win-win? And over a period of time, we started looking at outcomes, but which were also more to do with effectiveness and efficiency. Well, efficiency more than effectiveness. And of late, we started measuring ourselves on saying, can we go a step beyond? And that's what we are always looking for. Now, that's not what you contracted us for, but that's what we are looking for. Which is to say, can we have a transformative impact on your business? Can we help you build new markets? Can we help you access new markets? Can we help you discover a new way of selling? Can we take your products faster than your competitor so that you have an edge over your competitor? Are amongst the many questions that we have been trying to answer. So what I want to share with you, like a schoolboy at the end of the year, explaining to his teachers what we learned. So what I'm going to share with you is what we learned during the year. And many of you have, should I say, tolerated us, and many of you have given us a chance to serve, assuming that if it is less than 10 years, then we would be serving you, and after 10 years, you would be tolerating us. Maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. But given that background, I thought I'll share with you a few cases and see whether we are looking at it from the same pair of eyes that you are looking at. So, Aon Hewitt, and we thought that the best way to say this is, are we able to live the value that you want to live to your customers? So I was trying to see if in each one of these cases, is there a story which is coming out that we are living the byline that you stand for? So like Aon Hewitt stands for, we share the passion to win. So are we sharing that passion to win, or are we inculcating that passion to win in what we are doing? And I think both Aon Hewitt and USAA, some of the statistics are there with you, but they reflect more in efficiency and effectiveness. But I think the fact that it has opened some new doors. For example, in Aon Hewitt's case, where I'm personally involved in some form or the other, where instead of hiring once in a year, if they are able to hire every month of the year, then it helps them balance their load and access marketplaces and build their capacity in a much more efficient manner than ever before. And it actually opens newer dimensions. Now, that was not part of the agenda, but that's how it has turned out to be. And that, in my opinion, could be transformative for Aon Hewitt. And this is an onboarding story where the amount of time that it used to take to onboard a new hire from just hired to being productive on workplace has reduced by nearly 50%. The fact that there is a 30% saving in recruitment costs is perhaps what we got contracted for. But that's not what I am talking about. I am talking about the transformation that in this case it has managed to cause. And I'm sure Aaron in the audience somewhere, yes, and would tell us more about this when he's talking about the Hewitt case, the Aon case study. Similarly, USAA, and I had a good fortune to shake hands with Steve some time ago. Once again, the issue that we have been able to reduce the hiring or the time to proficiency, the fact that it leads to larger business benefits and an ability to access marketplace is something which I'm sure Steve will tell us more about, but we'll feel proud of these contributions that we have been able to make. I want to talk to you about a story from elsewhere in the world. This is a bank in India, and I have to read out some Hindi for you. This bank's motto is Khayal Aapka, which means our concern for you, or you before us. That's what they are telling their customer. And really, the you before us for them translates into their being at the right place at the right time. And opening new bank branches is a regulated activity. Every now and then, a window opens and X number of branches are given to a large number of players. Whoever can grab the maximum, and grab the maximum means has the right talent to service those branches, because those branches have to be operational very, very quickly. And we have been able to help this bank. In fact, we have a joint venture with this bank in banking and financial services, so they also bring us the subject matter expertise. And we are able to create just-in-time, ready talent, and 5,000 of them at a time. And over the last 6 years, we have trained 100,000 people, 25,000 bankers, and therefore they have the largest number of bank branches, the new bank branches that they got. The good news is that nearly 70% of their corporate banking staff is trained by NIIT, and were new hires that we provided to them over the last 6-year period. So that is something, another interesting story. By the way, it also says, "Choti-choti baatein hamesha choti nahi hoti." It means little touches can have a profound impact. So this might be a little touch in new hire training, but has had a profound impact on this bank. Let me move on from another story, closer home, MetLife. Once again, I think in case of MetLife, the real benefit is A, in terms of capability building, but the real benefit which has actually come about is opening a new marketplace and opening a new region because of understanding the nature of multicultural training that was required in this place. I'm sure Tamiko will share with us the experience of MetLife sometime, and we look forward to hearing about that. But we feel very proud of our participation in that project. Red Hat, Ian just flew in this morning, was it?
Last night.
Okay, last night. And of course his team. I think once again, in case of Red Hat, a large number of people trained in a large number of geographic locations is one part of the story. But the real, I would say, thing which makes us feel very proud of this association is that training was earlier done after the product was adopted. But now we have moved on to doing training which helps people adopt new products. So if training can contribute to opening up markets for new products, then I think it is transformative in terms of not just being able to service a contractual need, but also participating in building new markets. And I'm sure Ian will tell us much, much more about that. Shell. Again, a chance visit to their oil wells simulator and a discussion which was an accidental discussion which took place inside Shell at The Hague led us to create this oil rig simulator on an iPad. And the fact that it is now able to take the training to a large number of people who do not have to come to The Hague to get trained on that oil rig simulator, but the fact that sitting on their desktops wherever they are sitting or on their iPads wherever they are moving, they are in a position to have a focus on other innovative solutions that could come out by just this simulator training is one of those things. We are again looking forward to James and his team to talk to us about Shell's experience and what this could imply as a future. Again, taking you away from US to India, National Skills Development Corporation is an initiative where it was decided that we will skill 500 million Indians over a 15-year period. It's a huge project. We are proud to be their largest partner, but the very important change which it is bringing is that skills did not have a social status. Those of you who are familiar with India and the system of arranged marriages realize the need for matrimonial advertising. You know, you have about 50 words in which you express the capabilities of the bride stroke groom, as the case may be, the potential bride stroke groom that it should be, and look and say what you are looking for. And in that, the educational qualification plays a very important role. The educational qualification, those of you who have their roots back to India or are familiar with India would know that a graduation degree or an engineering degree or a medical degree had a great significance. But never in a matrimonial ad would you say a 26-year-old fair expert air conditioning mechanic looking for a suitable alliance. Never. You would say a 26-year-old fair graduate in commerce, in bracket not expressed, unemployed, looking for an alliance. So an unemployed graduate is okay, but a trained, earning air conditioning mechanic is not okay. Something which we need to learn from countries such as Germany, right, where it's part of the social fabric. What National Skills Development Corporation is doing is to bring such a movement back into India so that you are proud of being skilled, in contrast of being apologetic while being just skilled and not educated. So this is one project that we have participated in. We've set up 52 skill building centers and trained about 20,000 people. On the right is another very interesting transformative experience. As you know, India is also going through a huge current account deficit. And that is because we are spending more than what we are earning from taxes. And they realize that they are earning very little from the small taxpayer who gets away because of the large numbers that the tax assessment authorities have to go through. So we created a new breed of professionals for them. They are called TRPS. These are the registered practitioners who are allowed to assess a small taxpayer for tax. Now, I could call them equivalent to H&R Associates, H&R Block that you have in US. No, but H&R Block is on your side. They are not on the side of the taxpayer or the tax collector. In this case, those guys are also speaking on behalf of the tax collector, which means if the TRPS has okays your return, then the tax authorities will not question you. So we trained nearly 9,645 of them, and they had started a new profession. Again, a transformative impact on the country. These are two stories that I take great pride in talking about. Since these are multi-year stories, I get to talk about them every year. But we have had individuals as clients, we have had school children as clients, we have had companies as clients, we have had multinational organizations as clients, but we have never had nations as clients. So these are two nations who are our clients. And our charter is to cause a transformation in the nation. So in Bhutan, which is where we started working about 3 years ago, and our charter is to make from the king right up to the smallest child IT literate, so that IT can propel gross national happiness, which is one of the measures by which they measure their prosperity. And the scoreboard right now reads 7,000 civil servants, 80,000 school children, nearly 5,200 teachers, and 12,000 youth. So out of a total population of 700,000, it is still a way to go. But actually now we are gaining momentum very, very quickly. And indeed, a very, very compelling story. In case you have not been to Bhutan, it's definitely a place to go to. Maldives, so one is the mountain and one is the beach. In Maldives, they had a slightly different issue of 132 islands. Many of them are inaccessible. So a math class in a school can get cancelled in an island because the tide was too high for the boat to cross. And therefore the math class went, or for that matter, the school was declared a holiday. We have created a connected ambience there that we are able to service a large number of children and are causing, again, a transformative change. And there I think the real change is the reduction in crime, which was really becoming a big, big issue in Bhutan and Maldives. A story which gives us great, great satisfaction is, I don't know whether we have shared this with you, but in NIIT, as a part of our HR policy, every individual is allowed to volunteer 4 days of paid time, as long as it is contributing to somebody's education. And NIIT Foundation is the agency which kind of keeps track of all this and deploys all this. NIIT Foundation also collects money on any and every occasion. If you come late to a meeting of late, sometimes there is a small fine. That fine goes into the NIIT Foundation. Any habit that you want to correct, for which you collect money, if you like, we can institute it right here. $1 for every time you come into the session late, and that will go to NIIT Foundation. There are many great stories of what NIIT Foundation has been able to do, but the one which gives me great, great satisfaction is a young lady. Her name was Gunjan. I think those who can understand Hindi, it is to do with a very nice musical sound. But her name was an irony because she couldn't hear and she couldn't speak. And therefore she was not making it to any school, because there was no special needs school in the little shanty that she was living in. And we installed this hole in the wall that you can see on the right top, and you will hear Sugata Mitra, who is actually the inventor of this and who got the TED Prize this year for his contribution to this. He will be with us day after tomorrow. this lady Gunjan, this young lady Gunjan, since she was not going to the school, this hole-in-the-wall learning station was left in their little place, and she was left with it all alone because during the day other children wouldn't allow her to go anywhere near. So she had full access to that. She became so smart that she has not only been able to learn herself what no school could teach her, but actually now she is the custodian of this learning station. And in a certain sense has actually discovered a new vocation for herself, a confidence in herself, and the fact that she is self-sufficient. So it makes us feel so nice that one little hole-in-the-wall learning station procured by US Embassy and therefore deployed in the little colony which services the US Embassy from nearby actually had such a great impact on somebody which was absolutely unintended, but it's transformative. So, those are some of the stories from last year, and I'm sure we'll hear many, many more. But I do want to talk about what are we working on now and what do we stand for. I think there are two changes that are really very, very profound in the learning space. One is the impact of technology, right? The way technology is changing us is, I think, I don't want to preach to the choir. I think you talk about it every morning, so I'm not going to do. But there is one profound piece of data which is absolutely mind-boggling. I'm sure many of you are familiar with, but if you're not, when I read it, it was a shocker for me. A decade ago, knowledge used to double every 1 year, a decade ago. And a few decades before that, knowledge used to double every decade. But now, knowledge doubles every 11 hours. Which means last night when you went to sleep, whatever was the world knowledge, and if you thought you knew it all, which many of us do believe, isn't it? This morning when you woke us, at best you know 50%. At best. Now that's mind-boggling. I think that impact of technology is absolutely mind-boggling. The second change, which I think, so this is the exponential growth of knowledge. And the second change, I think, is the learner. The Gen X has given way to the millennial. And millennials are indeed different. My father used to tell me that I have a generation gap with him. I'm sure his father used to tell him the same, or vice versa. But in this case, this is a generation gap which is very, very, very profound. Because the person is very, very confident. The person, despite the fact that you believe you know it all, this one actually knows it all. Because last night while you were sleeping and the knowledge was doubling, this person was on the Facebook. So this person actually knows it all, right? So we are discussing with a learner which is connected. Given the fact that there are now 1.3 billion contacts by members on Facebook every month, Facebook is soon going to be the largest country in the world. Given the fact that there are 500 million tweets every month, and the fact that 1 billion searches on Google every hour, I mean, times are changing. Sorry, not 100 million searches on Google every hour. Times are changing. And in those times, this is the guy who's really connected. I mean, guy or the gal, sorry. The important question is, are we servicing this learner? The decisions about what this person should learn are unfortunately or fortunately, as the case may be, taken by a baby boomer, isn't it? Are the decision makers in this audience, barring a few, I mean, exceptions like me, most of us are in the baby boomers, right? So the baby boomers' style of functioning and therefore thinking of what this learner may want is very, very different. We notice this as parents when we go home, but then, you know, we have such a strong partition between our home and our office that we don't behave the same way at home as we behave in our office. And given that, I think this is one issue which needs to be looked at. And in NIIT, we are looking at that because we actually service 500,000 of them every morning. They come through our centers and we see that they learn very, very differently. And therefore, in our going forward, the changes in technology and the changes in the way the learner are going to be two pivots around which we are going to build the future of what we want to offer to you or what we want to work with you next year. So from effectiveness and efficiency, which definitely is one of the things that we are talking about, we are also looking at the 70-20-10, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with, right? That only 10% of learning will come from formal, 20% from group or informal, and 70% from on-job. The question is, are we looking at, therefore, saying most of us will not require to be there because 10% of learning is all that we are contributing to? I think the other way of looking at that is that this 10%, if not done appropriately, can make sure that the balance 90 also goes for a toss. One way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is this 10% is not trivial. Ed was telling me last night, $300 billion. So this 10% is $300 billion. And this $300 billion need to be deployed appropriately. And not only that, while 20 and 70 are not in our control, is there a way we could put measurements in the system around that so that we get a holistic picture of what the learning is happening? And in that, I think one very important element is the social media. So today, social media is considered trivial and in many cases barred. In fact, I was speaking to a bunch of school teachers in a North Indian city the other day. There were 200 school and college teachers in the audience, and said that each one of us has many, many roles to play, but can I make one request to you both as a parent and a teacher? Please open your child's Facebook account. You are denying your child the future by putting a ban on the Facebook account. And Facebook, not because I love Facebook and I hold stock of Facebook, no such thing. It's just you are denying him or her the connection that he or she truly deserves to be successful in future. So, and last but not the least, how can we help training make markets for you? So some of the examples that I shared with are at this point of time vague examples. I think through this conference, we may be able to discover more concrete things which will help us really use training for market making in contrast to just improving the efficiency and effectiveness. So with that, I want to commit to you on what we stand for. Yesterday, as luck would have it, I was in New York and I had a meeting with this legendary management guru called Ramcharan. I don't know how many of you have read his books, but he's a legend. But the most important thing in his talk was simplicity. And we were talking about turbulent times and what is going to happen and what should we plan for, how should a learning organization look at the future, and so on and so forth. And he said there are only 3 things that you need to worry about. He said, number 1, times will be more turbulent than ever before, and turbulence will hit us faster than ever before. Okay? But what will this mean? That when this set of turbulence gets over, the solutions that work before the turbulence will not work after the turbulence. And what you require is therefore innovation. Constant innovation. The second thing which he said was that the planning cycles will become shorter. He says if you used to plan for a year, plan for a quarter and review at the end of a quarter. If you plan for a quarter, plan for a week and review at the end of every week. You plan for a week, review every hour. Okay? And then he said the third thing. He said, I asked the guys in P&G, whom do you report to? They said, we all report to the CEO. He says, your CEO is fired. Your new boss is your customer. Report to your boss. That's what I'm doing. I'm reporting to my boss, dear customers, and saying, we recommit ourselves to win your trust. And we will be doing the following few things. Enhance a global presence, foster the finest team of learning professionals which you were always expecting from us, increase our value to you through deeper engagements. We also realized, and I realized by the way, the importance of or absence of training, as the case may be, in my own organization, as our own organization has been battling the turbulent economic times. Both the presence of and absence of, the correlation is so strong with training that it is amazing. Not only that, I also realized, even though it's our dog food, it's the dog food that we sell, training is actually very specialized. And if training is specialized, measurement of training is even more specialized. And our ability to manage training will depend on how we govern training. And therefore, setting up advisory boards, we actually ended up eating our own dog food. Dr. Chip Cleary is our advisor on setting up the learning function and learning governance function at NIIT for NIIT's training. Of course, he has had little more frustrating times with this customer than he has had with some of his other customers. Would that be right, Chip?
It's so difficult.
Curriculum transformation is another area that we are looking at. Investing in gaming and simulation, you will hear Greg talk about it. And then a pursuit of service excellence. It's an activity which has been started separately, and we realize that there is lots and lots to learn in this particular area. So these are some of the things that we intend to report to you on when we meet same time at some other place next year. So with that, I want to thank you for your attention, and I want to wish you the very best for the next 3 days. Look forward to shaking hands with each one of you, perhaps even shaking a leg, in case any of the evening get-togethers permit us to do that. Please enjoy yourself. Thank you.